From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is Wake Up Weather.
Good Tuesday morning. It is 6 a.m. I'm Kelly Rawson here in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. We have a lot to discuss in this weather update. I unfortunately bring you some bad news. We have very hot and humid conditions. In fact, dangerous heat expected this afternoon all across the Tennessee Valley. So let's dive right in. We have an extreme heat warning that will be in effect until 9 p.m. for every single county in our viewing area. So if we cover you, you are included in this extreme heat warning again for this afternoon and this evening, with heat index values up to 112 or 113 degrees, going to be downright miserable. In fact, downright dangerous to be spending long durations of time outdoors. So I will have tips on how to beat the heat if you do have to be outdoors, especially you workers. And I just want to say thank you so much to all of you workers who do have to be outdoors in the heat during these heat waves. But everybody else, be sure to be staying indoors and staying in the air conditioning. More on that here later on in this weather update. Let's go ahead and get started with our temperatures. Right now, we are already off to a warm start, but nothing unusual. Temperatures in the lower to mid 70s across the region for right now. So still very warm, very muggy out there, but we are only going to get hotter from there. We're not really dealing with much fog this morning, just some patchy fog in those low-lying areas, especially over into Wayne County where it did rain a lot yesterday. But waking up over Lawrenceburg, a beautiful scene to what is going to be a miserable day this afternoon. Temperatures in the 70s, dew points in the 70s as well. So yes, off to a very muggy start, just like the last several mornings. A very light breeze out of the north, about 3 miles an hour. That is no match for the heat that is to come heading into this afternoon. We also have a thunderstorm chance this afternoon, kind of like yesterday, very sporadic pop-up type in nature. So we'll talk about that here on Futurecast. But for the rest of the morning, we should be mostly dry as temperatures really crank up. We get uncomfortable heading into this afternoon. But by around and just after lunchtime, we'll start to see a few showers and storms pop up. Very sporadic in nature. Again, just like yesterday, I should say. Not everybody going to see them, but if you do see a thunderstorm in your location, expect some heavy rainfall, frequent lightning, and some gusty winds at times. But again, not everybody going to see those. The other thing is I'm crossing my fingers for a thunderstorm over my location this afternoon because, hey, it will work to cool us off a few degrees, even if it is just briefly. But we will take any relief from the heat we can get this afternoon. But heading into the afternoon, again, spotty, sporadic in coverage. Again, not everybody going to see those, but still a chance on the board for the entire viewing area for the rest of the afternoon. If you stay dry this afternoon, your temperatures may reach the upper 90s, pushing close to 100 degrees, especially in parts of North Alabama. So keep that in mind. We are going to be very hot, very humid, again, like I've been saying all morning. So I just want you to be prepared because it is going to be even hotter than yesterday. Now, I will say we do expect thunderstorm activity to extend later than what Futurecast is showing, as they have been all summer long, pretty much extending a little bit beyond sunset. So beyond about 8 or 9 o'clock is when we will start to see those thunderstorms start to fizzle out, and then we should be dry for the rest of the night as temperatures tonight cool off into the mid 70s if you call that cooling off. But we are going to be hot and humid once again for your Wednesday, but higher rain chances are expected heading into Wednesday and the rest of the week as we become just a little bit more unsettled and a little bit more moisture to work with. But again, more rain chances for your Wednesday. Heading into Thursday and Friday, we will also see some higher rain and storm chances, more cloud cover. So we are expecting to start to cool off. I know that's the question on everybody's mind. When are we going to get some relief from the heat? Well, you guys, it's coming in just a few days. We're going to have this, we'll call it a cool front because we're going to knock down from the 90s to the 80s, but it's still going to feel we're still going to feel a difference from it, but we are going to see that. That's why we do have elevated rain chances heading into your Thursday and Friday as well. But then we are going to be much more comfortable in the temperature department heading into this weekend. So again, very miserable for today, even into tomorrow as well. But those heat index values for today pushing 112 to 113 degrees. So again, just keep that in mind and stay indoors if at all possible. Temperatures stay in the mid 90s for your Wednesday, lower 90s for your Thursday. I like what I'm seeing here. Temperatures getting down into the mid 80s for your Friday, and we stay parked in the mid 80s heading into the weekend. So yes, relief from the heat is on the way. We knocked down about 10 degrees from the mid 90s to the mid 80s by the time we get to this weekend. You look at your morning drive again, you will just be preparing yourself for a miserable afternoon, but we will be mostly sunny to partly cloudy for much of the morning. Temperatures already into the mid 80s, maybe even upper 80s by mid-morning. So we are going to be very, very hot. Here's a look at heat index values over the next several hours. Heading into the lunchtime hour and then beyond, that's when we are going to see the highest and most uncomfortable and potentially dangerous heat index values, again up to 112 to 113 degrees in some locations, with those air temperatures in the mid 90s, maybe even some upper 90s in locations that stay dry. So here are some ways to beat the heat. Again, for the majority of the population, you folks should be staying indoors, but for you folks that have to be outdoors working, make sure you are staying hydrated more than you think you need to be. Make sure you have maybe an ice cold rag around your neck, some fans, those handheld fans with the sprayer, those work pretty well. And take breaks in the shade or in the air conditioning if you can at all, but even a few minutes in the shade will help to cool you off as well. So that is for the outdoor workers and anyone who has to be outside today. If you do not have to be outside today, you should not be outside today, specifically during the afternoon and early evening. Be sure to check on your loved ones, your neighbors, the elderly, any vulnerable populations that you may know. Make sure everyone's air conditioning is working correctly, and if yours is and you know someone whose isn't, guess what? It is an excellent opportunity to be generous and open up your home. Again, we are just trying to all get through this together. If you must be outdoors, again, wear very lightweight, breathable clothing because you are just going to need any relief that you can get. Hats, visors, sunglasses, and also don't forget the sunscreen. Again, if you have to be outside, but please, please, please stay indoors this afternoon if at all possible. Over the next several hours, again, heat cranking up into the mid 90s, maybe even some upper 90s. And then for the rest of the afternoon, that's when we are going to have that pop-up thunderstorm chance. Not everybody going to see those, but the chance certainly there. Again, just a typical summertime afternoon kind of thunderstorm chance with some heavy rainfall and frequent lightning with those thunderstorms. Then we're going to actually increase our rain and storm chances heading into Wednesday and beyond. Well, scattered showers and storms. Again, that is associated with that quote-unquote cool front going to knock us back from the mid 90s the next few days into the mid 80s by Friday. So yes, relief from the heat is on the way. Even as soon as your Thursday, we are going to be able to tell a difference, but then certainly on Friday and certainly into the weekend. Although we stay unsettled with scattered thunderstorms through the rest of the forecast, we are going to be feeling much better in the temperature department. I, for one, am very excited. But again, stay safe, stay hydrated, and stay indoors in the air conditioning this afternoon. That's a check at your local weather forecast. I'll be back at 8 a.m. with your next weather update.
You're watching the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel.